Let me guess, you disputed and it came back verified as accurate, or the credit bureau said that they won't reinvestigate, right? Well, today I'm going to show you exactly how to dispute each negative item type multiple times so that you can find that key to disputing and get it removed. Now, you can also find over 800 videos on my channel. Yeah, it's a lot, right? Going way back to 2015, and we are going to get started right now. What if they won't reinvestigate? When you look at the letter, it's going to say, unless. We will not reinvestigate unless you have new information directly from the court, the creditor, or new and relevant information. Using factual-based disputes, every single letter is new and relevant information because you're using the actual information directly from the credit report, right? So the very first thing that you can say is, this account is unknown. Why would you do that? Well, let me explain it to you. You want to place the burden of proof on the bureaus and the collectors. And you don't want to say, well, I know what this collection is. No, you want to say, I don't know what this is. Give me the proof. Give me my signature. Give me something that verifies this account. So remove for unknown collection. And this is going to be for third-party collections. This is going to be for your medical accounts. This is going to be for your utility accounts, apartments, so on and so forth. Do not use this for portfolio recovery, Midland. Now your next round can say, how did you verify this? Okay, I notified you that this account is unknown. How did you verify this without documentation? Because if you had the documentation, you would have given it to me, right? Now you can go method of collection verification. What was the method of your verification, right? Very straightforward. Proof of collection validation, that would be the next one. Furnish immediately the signed contract or remove this account. So as you can see, these are very straightforward, but these are the dispute reasons and the way that you can progress. That's why it's called dispute progression from one thing to another. Now, if you don't have collections, if you have late payments, you have bankruptcies, whatever, stay here with me. We are going to get to that, okay? Now you can say that the collector did not verify, right? The collector did not validate. They did not send anything because if they had, you would have furnished the documentation. Again, then possibly you could use section 609. And if it doesn't come off by then, now you need to go factual. What is factual? Well, that's a great question. You can use the information directly from your credit report, the dates, the balances, to remove the negative item, right? So in the event of a collection, you can go after date last active. Now let's move over to charge-offs, and I'm going to date of last activity. You need to remove this account because there's 3 different dates under the date last active. Remove immediately. Your next round is, how is this account accurate when the date of last activity shows 3 different dates? And I believe that was supposed to be date of last payment, okay? Because we start with, normally at the top of the pyramid, we're going to start with the date last active and then go to date last paid. Now you can go method of verification. Now your reason is not going to be the method of verification. Your letter is going to state method of verification, and then your actual reason is going to be factual. Now your next one, proof of validation. You can possibly use this, but you're going to use this in your actual paragraph, and then in the dispute reason, you're going to use factual. So failure to enter the required notice of dispute, different dates, different balances, the payment history, keep going over and over and over, right? That's the way that we do this. So when you're seeing something, a proof of validation, when you're seeing method of verification, that is not the reason. That goes in your couple of sentences at the top of your letter. Okay, late payments after charge off. This is a big one. If you did not pay the account, you are going to see that they report charge off, charge off, charge off, charge off, charge off, and they should not be doing that, okay? Remove immediately due to the fact that there are late payments after the close date, all right? That shouldn't be there. Violation for continued reporting of late payments after charge-off. You're in violation by continuing to report this unverified and inaccurate account. Then you can go after date of status, date last reported. Date of status shows that you didn't investigate this account. Remove immediately, because if they had, the date last reported, the date of status would have changed to be when they verified the account. Proof of investigation, independent investigation. Now, if you don't know what that really refers to, if you go back to Cushman versus TransUnion from 1997, congressional opinion was that the bureaus have to go beyond the original source of information to ascertain that the account is correct. And this means doing an independent investigation. So send me proof that you did an independent investigation to begin with. Otherwise, remove this account. Monthly payment on a closed account, that should not be there. How is there a monthly payment reported on a closed account? Balance, wrong balance. Past due, wrong past due. All right. Now let's go over to late payments. And this is pretty straightforward. I was never late. You didn't verify the late payment. How did you verify the late payment? If you did, then you would have bank records or transaction proof, and you don't. Unless you send me the bank records and transactions and, whatever belonging to the actual furnisher that would prove when I paid or did not pay on time, then guess what? You need to remove this late payment from my credit report, okay? Proof of investigation, method of verification, proof of validation. Now let's go over to bankruptcy. Court name, filing date, method of bankruptcy verification, proof of validation, copy of petition, failure to verify, correct, or remove. Due to the fact that you failed to verify, correct, or remove per FCRA regulations and requirements, you need to remove this account immediately. And yes, there is a car going past. Section 603, I did not provide my permission for this account to report on my credit file pursuant to section 603. You need to remove this immediately. Let's go over to judgments and tax liens, and I'm going to make filing date inconsistency. I remove all tax liens and judgments mostly with this one reason. Judgment, court name, documentation, plaintiff, failure to provide documentation, proof of judgment investigation. Let's go over to identity theft. Not mine, obviously. Prove it's mine. Where's the documentation to prove it's mine? Creditor, dispute directly with them using the 623 dispute, and then go over to CFPB, AG, BBB, and FTC complaints, proof of investigation for identity theft, proof of verification for identity theft, proof of validation for identity theft, and violation for failure to do all of those. And lastly, we have inquiries. All right, unknown inquiry, obviously. Proof of signature, they're not going to have it. Proof of inquiry verification, creditor inquiry dispute, bureau, creditor didn't validate, bureau, proof of validation, and illegal inquiries, continuing to report the inquiry in violation of my right to remove immediately, and then CFPB, AG, BBB complaints, and then you can use section 604. Let's start with how to analyze your credit report so that you know what you can say on that next round. Now we are starting with collections, and in between each of these disputes, you're going to wait 30 days, okay? So on the left over here, starting with unknown, that's bureaus going down. And then right next to it where it says VOD1, that is going to be the collector disputes going down, all right? So on round one with the bureaus, you can say, this collection is unknown. And again, we are talking about third party, so this is like medical, utility, stuff like that, car insurance, whatever, okay? And sometimes it may also be apartments. So for the bureaus, you're gonna tell them, hey, this is unknown, put the burden of proof on them. That is their job. It is not your job to do their job for them, okay? For the collectors, you can use validation of debt, round one. All right. Now, the next dispute with the bureaus, collector didn't validate. For the collector, it's going to be validation of debt, round two. Then you can go over to method of verification on the bureau side. And when I say method of verification, you're not sending a method of verification template letter. No. You are in that very first paragraph asking them how the heck did they validate this debt? Because if they had, they would have the documentation to furnish to you, and then this wouldn't have been a problem. If you had the documentation, I wouldn't be asking this, right? So collector, validation of debt, round three. Now you're going into factual. If it is still on there, now you're going factual, late payments, past due, date last active, date last paid, so on and so forth, right? Those are two totally different rounds. And then of course we have validation of debt, round four for the collector. And this goes into the CFPB. So you're going to land on CFPB after you have exhausted your remedies for factual based disputes. Right now, let me just put a note there, because I'm seeing so many people jumping over to the CFPB when they haven't exhausted the remedies. Nobody is going to take you seriously if you haven't done your job first. Your job is to dispute everything disputable on your credit report before you ever bother them, okay? Unless you're going to go directly over into suing because you have this huge violation or whatever, they're not going to pay attention to you. If you want them to pay attention to you, if you want to get this off your credit report permanently, before you go to the CFPB, make sure that you have all your rounds of disputes, all of your responses or lack thereof, all of the letters that you've sent out, all the violation logs and everything that you need to prove your case. Now, going back to this, let's jump over to charge-offs. So charge-offs are extremely difficult to remove. Whoever said that they're easy is just trying to get you to sign up and buy something, okay? They're not being real. All right, if this were simple and easy, then the conversation would be, how much are you trying to remove from your credit report and what you're trying to get? Because they'd want a percentage of it on the back end. Like, I don't know, $10,000 to remove 50,000, or 15,000, 20,000 to remove 50,000. And guess what? People would pay that all day. So if it doesn't sound realistic, then it's because it's not. All right, round one, date last active, creditor, 623 dispute. Next round, notice a dispute. On the creditor side, proof. Round three, method of verification, date last paid. Over on the creditor side, bureau reports something else. And then creditor didn't verify, in addition to the other factual based disputes that you can be using, right? And then we also have date last active, re-aged, illegal reporting, violations, and now we land down into CFPB. Now, as you can see, all of these end in the CFPB. Notice the word end. They end with the CFPB. All right, let's go and check out public records. All right, so for public records, we only have bureaus to dispute with, all right? So court, date, plaintiff, personal information is missing based on the laws that were passed in 2016 and 2018 method of verification. Does not meet FCRA requirements, illegal reporting, and CFPB. Now, you can go check out my channel. I have a ton of videos, hundreds of them. Plug in the word public record, or the phrase, plug in bankruptcy, plug in judgment, plug in tax lien, and you're going to find the video specific to those, because there's very specific things that you need to do to remove those types of negative items. And I give you all of the answers. All right, so for late payments, now you do need to understand that there's a difference between removing an account that has late payments and updating an account that has late payments, all right? And you also have to understand that there's a difference in the way that you dispute an account that only has a couple late payments and an account that has late payments that are more than 4 or more than, let's just say 2 years old, okay? So if you want to understand all of those things, then go check out vault.my740.com. But for the purposes of this, we are generally talking about late payments. So first of all, you're going to put the burden of proof on them. I wasn't late, bro. You need to remove these, because otherwise you wouldn't have the ability to give me the proof anyways, because the only proof is a bank statement and you're not going to give that to me. The other bureau shows blah, blah, blah. Use the bureaus against each other. They need to be able to prove, again, this comes down to proof. They need to be able to prove that you were or were not late on X date. All right. Now, a lot of people said, and I did see this recently in my comments, that, oh, the bureaus don't care what the other bureaus are reporting or blah, blah, blah. But the entire point is, no, they don't care. Right? They don't care. They're competitors. They don't give a crap what the other one is reporting. However, they have a grave responsibility to report accurate information. So they need to care what they are reporting. So if they are not reporting accurately, and you can prove this by showing what the other bureaus are reporting, then it gives you leverage. And leverage is what is going to get negative items removed. That is the point. All right. Proof of delinquency. We just talked about this. Put the burden of proof on them. Go check out Cushman versus TransUnion from 1997. Method of verification, false reporting, because anything that is unverified and continues to report is false reporting. And then CFPB. Now let's go over and check out inquiries. And inquiry is the last one that we are going to look at least for this video. Purpose, FCRA, you do not have a purpose for reporting, okay? And you should go and check out my video on my removing inquiries webinar. All right, so we have a couple of different ways to do this, but for the bureaus, it's going to be purpose, FCRA requirements, where's the application, and then you go over to creditor. You dispute it as unknown. On the bureau side, proof of verification. On the furnisher side, requesting application. Bureau side, creditor didn't validate. On the creditor side or furnisher side is going to be proof. On the bureau side is going to be an illegal inquiry. On the creditor side is going to be an illegal inquiry. And then now we're down to CFPB. Now, obviously, I could have gone way into this more advanced. But for the purposes of this, because we're covering multiple negative item types, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. We didn't want to do that because I didn't want to make this a 9 million minute video. All right, so now if you have questions about this, post it down in the comments, but I hope that I gave you a bit of fuel that you can use on your next round of disputes, because I'm seeing so many people get stuck when the bureaus come back and verify something as accurate. But you have to ask yourself, how did they verify this as accurate? That is the question, okay? And that is what you should be going after. All right. So if you have questions, like I said, post it down in the comments. If you want to see if I can do a credit sweep for you, because there is no learning curve for me, this is what I do, then use the link at the top of the screen, my740.com, schedule a call with me and I will see if I can help. But otherwise, I have some awesome links in the description. Go check them out, and it's going to help you on your journey to getting results on a higher credit score so that you can go and get that loan, that mortgage, that boat, that new house, that whatever it is that you want. We first have to do this, and that is what I'm here to help you with. All right, so that is it. Have a great rest of your weekend. Have a great start to your week, and I will see you tomorrow.